Good afternoon. I just kind of wanted to make like a random video, but this is what growing up on the block taught me. Like, I grew up in the hood, right? I'm from East Palo Alto, grew up in West Side Modesto, spent some time in South Sacramento, moved back to the West Side, and then, where did I go from there? I've been moved everywhere. I moved to this little farm town I live in now, right? So I've been kind of all over the place. But you know what growing up in the hood taught me, man? It gave you, it lets you, you're able to read people very well, man. Like, you could read people like a book, man. Like, I'm telling you, because you're around all kind of shady characters. You've been in like situations, right? You've been in like situations where like, man, someone probably gonna like pull out something. You could feel the subtle vibe and the subtle energy around people. Like, you ever go in like a house party or like a bar or something, and like, you just saw some dude there, and the way he looked, you knew he had a gun. You knew he had a gun, and he was just like wanting to use it, right? You could feel that. You could just feel that like energy, or the way they act. Like, they might be talking a little extra reckless, right? Like, sometimes, like, you'll be wondering, man, this guy's talking a little reckless. It's probably because he got backup with him, or he's got a gun. Like, little subtle things you notice about people, right? But that it teaches you how to read people very well. So now you go into like wherever, let's say you go into like the corporate world, or you go into like the blue collar world, or wherever, those same like you keep those same traits, but they translate into something else, right? Where, like, let's say you could tell your boss is like intimidated by you. I don't mean like, you're gonna beat his ass or something kind of intimidated. I mean, like, they like see you and like, man, this guy could take my job, bro. This guy's like smarter than I am. You start reading that, like the way they'll like people like kind of gaslight you or be kind of passive aggressive towards you. It's you could read people in that sense too, where you're like, hey, you could tell if people are like afraid of you, kind of, right? Or you could tell if someone's just like trying to like someone feels inferior to you, right? Those same skills translate over to be like, let's say someone feels inferior to you. You could tell by the way they kind of like they try to push you down so they could step up on top of you, because it makes them feel bigger, so they'll like they'll say little passive aggressive things, or say, oh, I don't know if you're capable of doing this, or something like that. It'll be some little passive aggressive kind of things. But that's one of the things that growing up in the hood taught me. You know what else it taught me too is if you want to know who your real friends are, let them borrow money, bro. Like, that'll show you who your real friends are, like, real quick. Like, if you let someone borrow money and they don't, let's say if they can't pay you back, right? And they just are honest. They're like, hey man, like, I'm struggling right now. I don't know when I can pay you back. That's cool, bro. Like, man, I'll be like, don't worry about it, Or, here's the other one you have where they just they stop answering your calls, right? And they just go completely ghost on you. It's just like, wow, over a couple $100. And I'm just like, okay, that's actually a good thing. Now I don't have this fake person in my life. I'm trying to think what else, like, growing up in the hood taught me. It taught me definitely, like, you gotta pay attention to your surroundings, man. Like, I'm not a paranoid person like that anymore, but everyone can be a potential threat. I'm talking about, like, even, like, like how there's a lot of mass shootings now. Like, you'll be able to peep that energy, like, if you're in a store and you could just feel someone, man. Or you could just see them, they just look kind of like irate or something. You're like, okay, like, this guy might be a problem. It might be a problem. And it teaches you too, if you're a man, you can read women pretty well, Like, you kind of like play dumb, but you can read women really well. You can tell if they're like really into you, or you can tell if they're just kind of like using you or whatever, so it kind of translates to that too. But I guess the biggest thing growing up in the hood taught me is how you can't you can't listen to people's words, right? You gotta pick up on their subtle energy, and you gotta pay attention to their actions, man. That's another thing, like, growing up in the hood taught me. But you learn how to really like peep out people, and like you can kind of tell who they are, and that like translates into the professional world. I talk to like all kind of homeowners, like really wealthy homeowners, and you could tell like what you could talk to them about, and how cool you could be with them, or how professional you have to be with them. within maybe a couple minutes, and you could be like, okay, I can kind of tell what kind of person. I can't joke around with this dude. I have to be very cordial and professional. Or this one, I'm like, yeah, I can talk about like street racing or something with this dude, or talk about, man, getting fucked up back in the day or something like that. But basically, this, like I said, it's a random video. I don't know, I just had a random thought, and I was just like, you know, what did growing up in the hood teach me? It taught me this too. 99% of people are cowards, bro. A lot of people are utter cowards. Only way most people will come up to you and like kind of, you know, run their mouth is if they got backup, they got a gun. It taught me that too, and it taught me most gangsters aren't real gangsters. Real gangsters are the nicest people you ever meet. They're the kindest, nicest people you ever meet. They're not all loud, and you know, they're not all extra. I think that's it for this video. Like I said, I just had a random thought, and I was like, man, I just want to make this into a YouTube video. But like, what did growing up in the hood teach me? But hopefully y'all enjoy your Friday, and peace.